Hey guys, welcome back. We've concluded the introduction to cryptography room. We've done the cryptography basics room. Next cryptography room we'll be looking at is cryptography for dummies. Don't forget, for you to get to this room, just type cryptography in the search bar. You click on free only because we are taking free only rooms. Then we are going to select walkthroughs so that we can have the ones that our walkthroughs. By the time we are done with all the walkthroughs, we'll be moving on to CTF, which are challenges. Okay, so let's move on to cryptography for dummies. As you can see, I've done this room before, so I'm going to reset my progress. Yes, reset my progress. And this is a room that allows you to become familiar with cryptography. If you've done the two previous rooms with me, I'm sure this is going to be very easy for you. It's supposed to take about 30 minutes, and by the time you are done, even if this is your first time, you should have a basic understanding of what cryptography is. Let's get started. Now, cryptography is a big topic, and we are going to cover the basics to give you a basic understanding. It is used by a wide range of applications almost everywhere on the internet. Now, why do we need cryptography? Without encryption, communications over the internet will be very insecure and it will be very easy for someone to see your data. Fortunately, this isn't true, and almost all of the data you get or send over the internet is encrypted and cannot be seen in plain text by someone who got access to it. Now, let's look into cryptography in more detail. Types of cryptography. There are two types of cryptography, the symmetric and the asymmetric. What is symmetric cryptography? So let's say Alice wants to send message to Bob, but she doesn't want to send the message in plain text because anyone can read it. She has a recipe how to mess up the letters in a way that no one can understand what it means. This is called encryption. Bob has the same recipe, but he uses it to order them so it will become readable again. This is called decryption, and it will understand what Alice wrote. The recipe in cryptography is called a key. In symmetric encryption, both users have the same key to encrypt and decrypt the messages. So, what is asymmetric cryptography? In asymmetric cryptography, the encryption and decryption keys are different. The encryption key can be used only for encryption, not for decryption, and vice versa. The encryption key is called the public key, and the decryption key is called the private key. Now, why is asymmetric cryptography used? Well, because it is more secure. If you are using symmetric cryptography and someone takes your key, it can encrypt and decrypt messages that you send. While in asymmetric cryptography, it can't decrypt the messages you encrypted with the public key. Only the holder of the private key can decrypt them. So if a message is encrypted with a public key, only the owner of the private key can decrypt them. So the person can't decrypt the messages as long as it is encrypted. So let's give an example. Alice wants to talk to Google. Google gives Alice the public key. Alice encrypts her message with the public key and sends it to Google. Google decrypts the message with his private key and sends back what Alice wanted. And that's how the conversation goes. Note, symmetric cryptography is faster than asymmetric, but asymmetric is more secure. Now let's see what you've learned. What type of cryptography is more secure? Asymmetric. I think that's a network issue. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. What type of cryptography is faster? The symmetric cryptography is faster. What type of cryptography will a bank site use? That should be asymmetric. Why are you not? My internet connection is off. What will you use to encrypt your messages in asymmetric cryptography? We are going to use the public key to encrypt. What we use to decrypt messages in asymmetric cryptography, you are going to use the private key to decrypt. Does symmetric cryptography use different keys for encryption or decryption? No. Symmetric uses the same key for encryption and decryption. By the time my internet comes back, we are going to click on that. We're moving on to the next item, which is hash. What is a hash? Hashes are a long strings of letters and numbers generated by hashing algorithms. They take plain text and make it a hash. The important thing about hashes is that they are not reversible. There is no way to decrypt or decode a hash. Look at the diagram above. You can see that we have the plain text being sent into our hashing algorithm, and we have our hash text as the output. Popular hashing programs or algorithms are MD5, that's the message digest 5, and the SHA, that's the secure hashing algorithm. This is how the word hello looks like as MD5. You can see the long string of gibberish characters. Now, what are hashes used for? The most popular use of hashes is for file identification and storing sensitive data like passwords. When you create an account on a website, your password is converted to hash, and this hash is stored in the server's database. So when you log in, the password that you type in will now be converted to a hash. The server will take it and compare it with the hash in its database. If it's the same, that means your password is correct and the server will let you in. MD5 hashes are also used to ensure the data integrity of files. Because the MD5 hashing algorithm always produces the same output for the same given input, it can be used to compare a hash of the source file with a newly created hash of the destination file to check that it is intact and unmodified. There are plenty of other hashing algorithms out there, but this room is intended for beginners, so we are not going to cover them. Don't forget that we actually covered the secure hash algorithm earlier. So by now you already know which is cryptographically broken and which is much more in use. But because it's a basic room, I'm not going to dive in depth. I understand what hashes are. Now that my network has decided to shame me, I don't even answer these rooms. What does MD5 stand for? Message digest 5. Who created MD5? We have to go online to check that. Research. Okay, is my internet back? No, not yet. Let's continue. Decoding or encoding. There is difference between encoding and encrypting. They are two different things. So now, let's say you have an encrypted file. The only way to decrypt it is using key, right? Good. Now, while encoded data can be decoded immediately without keys, encoding is not a form of encryption. It is just a way of representing data. They are two different things. It's like if I want to express my name in another form, let's say in Spanish, do you get? That's just like a simple representative. That's encoding. However, if I want to add my password, I don't want another person to see it. I want to change it to gibberish, ciphertext. That's what encrypting. Now, if I want to change something entirely different that cannot be reversed, that's what I call hashing. So a very popular encoding is base 64, and here is how IDEA looks like with base 64 encoding. You can see AG, KG. So there are differences between encoding, encrypting, and hashing. And how about now you already figured that out. Encoding is just to represent your data in another form. Encrypting is to convert your data to cipher form so that no one can read it. However, once the person has the key, they can read it. Now, hashing is a way to represent your data in an entirely different form, such that even if it cannot be reversed. There is no way you're going to get the original data from the hashed value. Thank you. Now, we are going to encode a string and decode the string. So once you hear encoding or decoding, you already know that we are talking about changing the form of a data. I'm trying to, excuse me, please. Okay. I'm going to pause now. Pause. So it seems you have an internet back. So we are going to submit. What type of cryptography is more secure? Asymmetric. What type of cryptography is faster? Symmetric. What type of cryptography will a bank site use? Asymmetric. Then what we use to decrypt messages? If you are decrypting, you are using the private key. And if you are encrypting, use public key. Does symmetric cryptography use two different keys? No. No. Good. We're done with that. On to the next task. What is a hash? We've explained that, and we are only trying to answer the questions. What is the MD5 of hashes are cool? So just come here and type, I think there was one MD5. Yeah. Okay, md5decrypt.net. So hashes are cool. Okay, let me just type MD5 hashes are cool. We are going to encrypt. I'm going to copy this. Copy. Come here. Okay, no. No. What did I do? Okay. So I'm going to paste and enter. Correct. What does MD5 stand for? Message digest 5. Who created MD5? Who created MD5? Ronald Rivest. Okay. We're typing that here. Ronald Rivest. So we are good to go. Decoding and encoding. We've been told to encode the string with base 64. Copy. Let's see if we have a space for base 64 here. Ciphers conversion. Okay, so we are coming to, there's this decode. Yeah. Not this. No, not this. Decode dot en. Yeah, good. It's a really wonderful web app for encoding and decoding. They're going to base 64. Just search base 64 here. Base 64. Okay, you see? Base 64 coding. Going to click on that. And we're going to have our encoder. This is the encoder here. I'm going to replace it, Control V. So we are going to encrypt. We have our output. We copy this and come here and paste it here. Press enter. We are good to go. So we are asked to decode the string. What is the secret word? So we copy this base 64, Control V, and we decode watermelon. So we copy from here, we paste, oh, watermelon. Sorry, watermelon. Can you see? So with this, we've been able to differentiate between cryptography, encoding, and hashing. Cryptography is a form of converting plain text to ciphertext encryption. Yeah. So you are trying to send a message in secret such that only the person with the key can decrypt it. Encoding is just representing a word in another form or a message in another form, and it can be decoded. Then what is hash? Hashing is a way of generating outputs that are not reversible. You can't decode or decrypt them. So thank you for reading. If you are interested in cryptography and want to learn more, I suggest you to complete the cryptography rooms from TryAcme. They cover more topics in cryptography, and that's what we've been doing. We've been covering a lot on cryptography. So what does it say? Leave feedback. Oh, let me leave feedback. Oh, okay. Thank you for listening. We are going to continue on the next cryptography room. Bye for now.